what is the RNC plan? What does it look like when it comes to that get out the vote operation on election day? A, what does it look like? And then B, how can people get involved if they want to be part of it?
Yeah, TrumpForce47.com. We'll put that right up front. That's the website where people can go and they can sign up. What we're going to do is we're going to ask you to register, go through a quick training video, and then we're going to present you with a list of 25 people from your community, and we're going to ask you to go get 10 of them to commit to vote for Donald Trump and the Republicans up and down the ticket. If they do that, we're going to ask them for 25. Then we're going to do 50. Then we're going to do 100. We've got 8,000 people already across the country, thousands more that are in the process of becoming those Trump Force captains, where they've already gone out and got those 100 commitments. But if we can get every one of the people that enter this program to go get 10 people, that becomes a major, major movement. We're excited about what we're seeing on the ground. And then as we go into this last month, it's going to be a more traditional get out the vote campaign, where we are again targeting the low propensity voters. We're targeting the people that are moving away from the Democratic Party. You know, we're seeing historic shifts right now. Blacks, Hispanics, Asian Americans, and Jews are leaving the Democratic Party because of the policies that Kamala Harris is put on the table and doubled down on. So we have plenty of targets of opportunity at this point to go out with a traditional get out the vote campaign. And you're seeing ads on TV in the 7 battleground states. You're seeing the digital ads. You're getting the phone calls. It is all about voter contact, but more importantly than just voter contact, it's voter conversations. We want to have those 5-minute conversations with them.
Yeah, by the way, I noticed, I saw one of the ads, as you mentioned, if you go to Trump Force 47, if you get these different metrics hit, right, you get the 10 people, you guys give, I mean, I know the campaigner, whoever's running it, you get a hat or something like that. I think it's a really nice incentive for folks who want to be part of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, for those folks that are going to go out and get 100 commitments, then, you know, we're going to have a very big party when we win this thing for all of our Trump Force captains. So there's a lot of inclusion, right? There's a lot of people who are paying attention to it, and it really is good. But the key is, how are we going about these conversations? You know, we spent a very significant amount of time cleaning up the data that we have at the RNC plus the Trump campaign. We've merged our operations together so that we're in the field with one program, not two. We're in the field with one set of messaging, not two. You know, the fundraising, the digital, the data, the political operations are all unified, which, you know, the first time really since George Bush did it back in 2000 and 2004 so effectively.
When I had James Blair, the Trump campaign political director, on the show the other day, I said to him, hey, look, you can coordinate with these outside groups like Turning Point Action, America First Works, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I asked him what degree of confidence he has in these outside groups doing their job. And I thought he gave me a brutally honest answer, Chairman. He said, I have more confidence in some than others, and we can hold them accountable. Do you share that view?
What I would say is that we are building our program to run our operations, and then when we have these other groups come in to help coordinate, it is nice because it's very complementary. We're going to have the operation set up the way that we need to run it, even if we're all alone. It is very helpful to have these other groups sitting in the boat at the same direction and rowing at more or less the same time. And we certainly are seeing groups that are hitting their marks all across the country and reporting back into us and letting us know kind of what they're doing. The coordination effect that we have right now, which we're allowed to do because of this new order from the Federal Election Commission, is great because it does give us a legitimate window into the operations that other groups are playing with it. They have always been able to coordinate among themselves so that there's always been kind of just two sets of folks that are going to be in the field. So our awareness right now is much better, and I like the coordination.
So the number one issue I get when I talk to people about the road to 270, and here are the paths that Donald Trump can win by, here are the trends that I see in the polls. Bar none, everybody says, what do you think of the ground game? So I want to say I just talked to the chairman of the RNC, and the answer he gave me is,
we have a great ground game. It is absolutely being deployed right now, and we feel very comfortable that we're going to get out the vote. You know, when I took over the RNC along with Laura back in March, we stripped everything here down to two functions: get out the vote and protect the ballot. We feel very good about where we are in the ground game right now. I think we're going to have, and we're already seeing it, right? Look at what we're seeing right now with the absentee process in North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Look at the early voting we're seeing in Virginia. Look at what we saw using this type of a model during the primaries, where Donald Trump was getting record numbers in every single primary. So we feel good about where we are on the ground. We're going to get out that vote, and we're also going to turn around and protect the ballot.
All right, you heard it from the chairman of the RNC. You talk about protecting the ballot. Donald Trump's returning to Butler, Pennsylvania, the site of that assassination attempt that the hand of God literally came down and saved him from. But here was an interesting thing that I thought was fascinating. Lo and behold, the state of Pennsylvania puts out a notice and says, hey, we're going to be doing voter registration. It says the website, voter registration application, will be undergoing scheduled maintenance and unavailable on October 5th from 10 p.m. until October 4th at 4 a.m. Gosh, that just happens to be the day that Donald Trump is going to be in Pennsylvania. Well, Scott Pressler, who's doing amazing work in Pennsylvania, flags this. Laura Trump, you just mentioned her. They got your team of lawyers on board. And wow, holy smokes, they moved the scheduled maintenance. But how concerned are you about this kind of debauchery and trickery and dirty tricks, let's be honest, that they're doing on the Dem side to sort of interfere with the election?
Well, what I will say is we have built the first...
And by the way, real quick, kudos to you and your team, because that says a lot. This is the difference. This is where, I'll sing your praises. This is where your team, you and Laura and the team, are doing things that people can see to get the job done. I'll just say that. You guys deserve a lot of credit for getting in there, getting it done, and getting results. So kudos to you and your team, and I hope that after the election, you let those lawyers go to that party that you were talking about.
Absolutely. Look, and I appreciate it. Look, what we have done is set up the first ever national election integrity program at the RNC. We have built it out. We've got 115 staff that are working full-time all day, every day on election integrity. We have people that are deployed out into all of the battleground states. We've got people on the ground in those congressional districts in California, New York, as well as our Senate battleground states like Florida, Texas, Ohio, and Montana. But in the big seven battleground states, we have full tilt teams that are on the ground out there. We have held thousands of events where we've been training sessions for the volunteers. Very happy to announce this week we've doubled our initial goal of 100,000 volunteers. We have over 200,000 people who have registered. They're going through training, and we are putting them in the field to serve as ballot workers, poll observers on Election Day throughout early voting periods. My favorite analogy on election integrity, I'd rather have a police car parked in front of a storefront window than call them after a rock gets thrown through it. We are going to be in the room. The key elements for us, are, number one, you've got to have the right rules of the road in place before voting starts. That's why we filed 125 different lawsuits in 26 different states. That's why we've seen states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Wisconsin passing new laws, very good, solid election integrity laws that we've had to protect in courts, but they've done the heavy lifting from the legislative side. We have seen boards of elections that have worked with us, and we've had areas where they're not working with us, and we've had to go to court to try and make those changes. But we've worked very aggressively on the front end to get the right rules of the road in place. Things like only American citizens can vote. You have to have voter ID. You've got to make sure that states are cleaning up the voter rolls. And where we have mail-in balloting, we want basic protections in place. So we feel very good about where we are compared to 4 years ago on all of these fronts. The second part, you got to be in the room. And that's where these 200,000 volunteers that we've been able to put together, we set up the Protect the Vote tour. So Laura Trump, myself, Matt Whitaker, Pam Bondi have traveled around the country, 25 events in battleground states to make sure that we are recruiting those volunteers and getting them trained so that we can deploy them and be in the room with it. Look, there's always going to be efforts on the other side of the aisle. We know that. But I feel like if we are in the room and we are prepared, we're going to do a much better job of inoculating ourselves so that we can have a fair, accurate, secure, and transparent election.
To the extent I know, having been at the RNC, I get a lot of calls after the election about stuff that they happen. If somebody is voting and they see something, what should they do? How should they handle that concern that they have, that they see somebody voting improperly, they see somebody who is maybe not a citizen or something like that? What should they do to handle it properly?
We will have volunteers who are going to be there as poll workers, poll observers, that they can immediately flag that with. If all else fails, they should pick up the phone and call their county chair, the county Republican Party chair, because we're going to have them looped in with us, and we will make sure that we flag that and we address it immediately.
Okay. Chairman, you're from North Carolina. First and foremost, our thoughts and prayers go out to the people of North Carolina and Georgia that have been affected by Hurricane Helene. I hope everyone in your family and your neighbors are all safe.
Yeah, thankfully so.
Okay. First, I want to just ask you this. Is the federal government doing what they need to get the support that they need to the people there?
You know, what I will say is this, we're going to have plenty of opportunities to take political shots in the future. And I think, frankly, unfortunately, they're going to be warranted. What we're seeing right now in a number of states is in Tennessee, in South Carolina, in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Virginia. There's an unbelievable amount of damage that has been wrought by this storm. The fact that my family, I'm grateful that we're all okay, but there are many, many thousands of families that are not going to be okay in terms of property damage, in terms of loss, in terms of lost lives. And we still do not have an accurate count even of who's missing, let alone what that death toll is going to be like, the injuries that are going to be served. So, our hearts and prayers are with everybody throughout the entire region, not just North Carolina and Georgia, but also including those other states. Look, right now, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of private sector help. The churches that are standing up, the Red Cross that's standing up, Samaritan's Purse is doing an absolutely remarkable job. But we're continuing to hear concerns. Where is FEMA? Where are the state governments? What is happening there? And so we're gonna see as electricity gets turned on. Elon Musk fortunately talked with President Trump, got units that are going into North Carolina and Georgia and other states right now, so that they can get online and we can actually get adjustments that are going to be made. I do say that with not really wanting to take too many political shots, when you have the Secretary of Homeland Security today say we spent all our money housing illegal immigrants and we are out of money to be able to help with hurricanes, that is a very troubling statement. Before
I let you go, I have to be. I apologize if this comes across politically crass, but we're in the business. We're 30 days out from an election. Tell me what the demographic makeup of Western North Carolina is. Is it the Asheville area? Is this a Donald Trump area? Is this an area that votes traditionally Democratic? Like what normally is the vote look like in that western part that's been most effective?
It's always been Republican. Everything west of Charlotte is heavily Republican. Obviously, the city of Asheville is a blue dot in a red field. And it is a very liberal city. But the rest of that congressional district, the 11th district, is very, very Republican. When you look at Northwest Georgia, you look at rural Georgia, obviously those are Republican areas.
Should we be worried then? Should we be worried about, I mean, again, I apologize for being crass, but it's a swing state. You've got 16 electoral votes. Should we be worried about those votes being cast, considering that makeup?
Well, we certainly want to make sure that we have the polling locations are going to be up and running. We want to make sure that people are aware of those voting locations. If we need to set up alternatives, we will figure out a way to set up alternatives and get people out there. I have already spoken with the Speaker of the North Carolina House. They are going to be having a special session where they're going to take a look at the needs for the region, for the state. I am aware that county boards of elections are already meeting and having conversations with the state boards of elections. So there is going to be a full tilt effort, and we're going to need one to make sure that everybody in the western part of these states has the opportunity to go out and vote.
Okay. Well, Chairman, again, my thoughts and prayers are with the people in North Carolina, Georgia, and all those other affected areas. And I get, I mean, unfortunately, we have to talk about the political consequences. So I hate to make it that, but this is where we are politically speaking, and it is a battleground state as well as Georgia. So I thank you for sharing your insights with us. I appreciate you being with us as we enter these final days, and hopefully we get to have you come back and give us an update. But congrats on all the great work, because I think the trends are headed in the right way. The work is in the right way, and you guys have a focus of unity, as you mentioned, that I think is very admirable from people who've had concerns out of the RNC. Your leadership is very, very well noted at this critical time.
Well, I appreciate that. And I would just say to every one of your listeners, we feel like we're absolutely in a fantastic position to be able to win this race. We think that it's not just a matter of messengers, even though we have dramatically better messengers. It is a matter of the message. When you look at the debates that we have seen, neither Kamala Harris nor Tim Walz have been able to close the deal. Neither one of them have been able to sell the package of issues that they're trying to campaign on to the American people, which is why we're leading on every issue poll. We are leading in every battleground state, and we're expecting that we're going to have a really great night on November 5th.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.